Welcome back to Kamen Rider Review, episode number 28. This is reviewing 10 episodes of Kamen Rider V3, which I think is probably the most I've actually reviewed for this series, one video. Now, 41 and 42 are basically, the only ones that are original of these ones are basically 43 to 50. 41 and 42 are more remakes of the original series. In the case of 41, it is a remake of episode 3 of Kamen Rider. In the case of episode 42, it's a remake of episode 2 and episode 1, loosely. But in the case of the first one, it's not that obvious that it is a remake, but it actually is. Where it's like, okay, we have this armadillo monster who's got a flat-looking face, and his whole thing is by making things like turning the thing, making it melt. So you have a guy break out, and of course, you have the monster who sees the Kamen Rider, and then he just disappears, and he disappears throughout the entire episode without any explanation. This kid who was taken by by Destron, of course, he's injured, and of course, basically, he's like. And of course, you have attack, and this guy is that, and of course, the guy who you have Shiro attacking is actually the friend of Tagashi. Yeah, it turns out he's actually a member of Destron. He actually is a monster. Yep. Now, it feels like pretty much the end of the episode. It's not exactly as obvious as it was, given his attitude. That one, this one, not very obvious. Seems like a very, very genuine friend. And apparently when he's in monster form, he's completely oblivious to the fact that he actually was this guy's friend. So, after a grueling battle, Kamen Rider defeats the armadillo monster. He turns briefly back to his old friend and he dies. Yep. 42. Oh boy. This one, it was so obvious. This was a remake of episode 2. Like, here's one for you. A girl gets ensnared by a snail monster and he uses webbing. I'm like, that is something from episode 1. Oh, and by the way, what happened when the sister was killed in the episode, and of course the Kamen Rider is obviously blamed for the damn death, and the younger sister wants revenge. And we have this whole virus playing around this building, which similar to what they did in episode 39, but this one's like a carbon copy of that one. Oh, by the way, how to feed the monster is quite similar too. We even have a moment in the episode where you have the Kamen Rider fight the Kamen on the roof. He actually was one of them off the roof, which also happened in the original one. Yep. Now, the thing is, the biggest difference between both of these ones, aside from the fact that we switch out Kamen Rider this one and like who the victims are, this episode obviously takes place during the daytime while the original one took place at night. At least got praise them for that. They changed the setting. Yep. By the way, how is the monster defeated? Is he thrown off the building like the Batman was? Oh no, he was actually thrown up in the air, and then he was turned into a pancake. Yeah, apparently for some reason the monster was exploding a lot of the time. A few times in these episodes, they just turn to goo, or they just foam out, and they just... I'm like, is the series going back to the roots of the original Kamen Rider stuff? Where monsters defeated have exploded like they have been. Where they turn to like guck or turn to foam for some reason. Yeah, I thought this is kind of weird. Now it's episode 43. This one, like you watch this episode, it feels as though the Kamen Rider is a guest star in his own damn series. Because we have debut in this episode of a guy with the most hilarious look of the entire series. This is Rider Man. Yes. Now, his real name is Joji Yuki. How does he get this way? Well, we have episode 43 start off with... Oh, by the way, the guy is called Martial Arm. That's what he's called here. This is what I think I like for Joji Yuki. Excuse me. Where he starts with him having a trial with the 5 Destron commandants. I'm like... either he's talking to the 3 dead ones, or he's talking to the ones across the planet. It's never specific then... And of course, the Destron's like, because he pronounced him guilty for treason, and the Great Destron's like, he's too valuable. Why are you trying to kill him for? Yeah, the reason why is out of pure pettiness, because he sees him as an obstacle to his. He's basically a threat to his job. That's the only reason why he's doing this. So he ends up basically trying to execute with, get this, sulfuric acid of all things. Yep. Ends up burning his arm, so he has to wear a prosthetic limb a lot of the time. So his assistants basically gave him the breakout, and of course they use their new device they have been developing on him, and that somehow turns into Rider Man. Now he does go back to the uniform. How does he turn into Rider Man? Well, all he does is this: sticks hand up in the air, and here's the Rider Man helmet, puts it on, and then by pure magic, he's in the suit. That's all it takes. Not the simple. Yeah, the whole waving arms thing. Yeah, this is different per se. I mean, once put the helmet, first thing you see is the gloves and the belt and the boots. And he's in the outfit. When Kamen first meets him, he's like, "Wow, this guy looks very similar to me." And he kind of it takes him a bit. It takes him episode 46 to become his official partner. Well, he's an ally in his fight against Destron, because he still believes in his beloved Destron until he meets the leader, which I'll get to that. Don't worry. Now, I think that his introduction was actually done really well. It's just that it was kind of dumb. They basically made the Comrade of the series. They made V3 basically a guest artist on the episode. And, of course, they wrap up the stuff with the very next episode. The monster in the episode gets destroyed. Of course, he also has this thing where he's written like the way it was with Shira at the start of the series, where basically he was obsessed with destroying Destron. This one is like, it's a retread of that, but it seems like they dropped the elements in the series. Excuse me. So they drop it, and then, like here, it's given to him for about a few episodes. And also this thing where it's written like, "Oh, you're not strong enough to fight." I'm like, how are you determining that, B3? Yes. So we have, get this, in these episodes, like starting, you have a two-parter, and then another two-parter, and then like roughly two standalone episodes, and then you have another two-parter. Yep. Now, in the case of, well, the other episodes, after the two-part introduction to Rider Man, yep, we have a two-parter set during Christmas time. Yep. Yeah, and this basically is where V3 becomes basically his friend. And then we have sort of a loosely connected two-parter. Yes. Well, this one actually has the first physical appearance in the series of the great leader of Destron. He shows up in the episode. And he's dressed exactly like the great leader of Shocker, except he's wearing black instead of wearing red. And he has something else for it. So we have where he's fought, and then of course, you have V3 meeting him at the end of episode 48. But he basically, his life is spared by Rider Man, and the reason why he's spared, because apparently, according to Rider Man, the great leader of Destron raised him. He basically was a savior. It's like, okay, say this, but don't do that again. But it was interesting two-part of what it is. In the case of the next two episodes, basically it's all about using his chameleon to kidnap children and make them into monsters. Yeah, the episode itself felt a bit of a retread of basically episode 2 again, with a minor scale with this one. Yeah. Actually, it's more like in episode 40, episode 50. Basically, it's a kind of a loose connected two-parter where the Kamen is injured and he can't control his own strength, and that was basically the plot thread of this episodes. Yeah, so eventually the surgery and thing is fixed by the end of episode 40. And the next episode is simply the whole thing with the friendship with a little kid, and basically bringing back Mutant Chameleon as Vampire Chameleon, who was defeated at the end of episode 50. And fun fact, the final monster created by Destron before they have the Kamen Rider fight Martial Armor 1-on-1. Yep. Like I say, 10 really good episodes, and I'm not going to review any more because, well, I probably it's already midnight right now, so I'll review that probably later on today, reviewing the last 2 episodes of this, and then go back to Flash. Okay, next video. Bye.